Welcome to the Cross the Line podcast. My name is Carlos Smith. Today's episode is sponsored by KB's Car Care on 321 North Main Street in Jonesville, South Carolina. KB's Car Care, they offer hand car wash, vacuum, and clean interior. Coming soon, they will have a full detail available also. While you wait on your vehicle, customer seating is available as well as the dining area. They're open Tuesday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 a.m. So make sure you stop by. This episode is also sponsored by Big Ben Dessert in Spartanburg, South Carolina. So thank you guys for sponsoring this episode. Today, once again, this is the Cross the Line podcast self-investment tour. We are on the road in Jacksonville, Florida. We have two serial entrepreneurs with us today. We have Ms. Jasmine Brown and Ms. Kimberly Claridy Walker. How are you ladies?
Wow.
Doing well, thank you. We appreciate you for taking the time to sit with us. I think I told you in the email I said that I saw an article online. I find a lot of my stuff on blackbusiness.com, and I seen the article that said you ladies had purchased a BP gas station. So I clicked on the article, and it was great. So I wanted to reach out to you guys, you ladies, and thankfully you responded to the email. So we're happy to be with you today.
Yes.
And I have a lot of questions about everything that you ladies are doing. It's a major accomplishment, something I love to see. But starting out, can you tell everybody, how did you ladies actually meet?
Actually, the way in which we met, my mentor, Ron, also known as Ron and Don, Kim and him, they grew up together. So she was speaking with Ron, I think it was back in end of April, beginning of May, in regards to her business portfolio. So he gave me a phone call and was like, hey, I got a client for you. And when he first called me, I was like, hey, I don't have no extra time. I can't take on no new clients. And the ironic part was the first time we met, he didn't let me know that she was going to be at the restaurant. I was just up there, and then he was like, hey, I need you to go over there to that booth. I'm like, what? So we met through Ron, and basically she was looking to get her business portfolio put together. After I completed the business portfolio, it was some new businesses that she wanted to put together at that time. One was a hookah lounge and a restaurant. But due to the pandemic, it was just bad timing.
So you ladies, so basically you were kind of like a
business consultant
for her. Okay. So now you have the opulence firm, correct?
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? We're going to get to the gas station, the BP gas station. I want to know about your separate businesses also. So talk a little bit about your opulence firm, Jasmine.
Okay, so the opulence firm is a music entertainment PR firm. We specialize in tours, marketing, as well as branding. Some of the clients in which we work with is K. Michelle. We've also worked with Country Wayne, Kiwi, Casey and JoJo, Ja Rule, DMX. So we have like a wide variety of clients in which we've had the opportunity to work with as well as represent.
Now, and how did you actually get into the marketing? Entrepreneurship?
I started in public relations back in 2007.
Okay.
I was actually in college and I had the opportunity to do an internship with Sony. And when I came back to Jacksonville, I was trying to get a public relations job. And I just couldn't seem to, so I started my own firm. When I started my own firm, I was basically working with a lot of indie artists, up and coming artists. And I want to say, about 2016, one of my clients, Duquan, he went on tour with DMX, I think it was Yin Yang Twins and a lot of others. And I was live on Facebook, and I posted a photo of myself backstage. And I got a message on Facebook, and it was like, hey, how did you get backstage at my show? And I was like, well, my client was a part of the tour, and I ended up exchanging numbers. It was a well-known promoter and manager that was well recognized in the industry. And he called me and was like, hey, I'm currently working with internet sensation Country Wayne. By any chance, do you want to be a publicist for him? Do you want to work with him? And I was like, okay. So me and that individual, we became like a dynamic duo. And because he was well recognized in the industry as a manager and as well as a promoter, if he came across a client that didn't have a publicist, he would send them to me. And if I had a client that didn't have a manager, I would send them back over to him.
So since that time, it's kind of like word of mouth and everything just continues
It was word of
to
mouth.
pick up. Man, that's awesome. Now Ms. Walker,
Yes, sir.
you have Walker Enterprises. Can you talk a little bit about your business as well?
Okay, well, I started out with Walker's Property Investment, which we buy houses, flip houses, rent houses, lease houses out. We also have Walker's Food Mart, which is a corner store. And we also have the BP gas station. And we also have Joanne Southern Family Kitchen, which is a food truck. I also own 2 boarding houses along with 2 home care adult homes, and also K&E and lawn and pressure washing services. So
Yeah, you seem like you ladies have a very busy schedule all the time.
yes.
How did you actually get into, like, for each of you, both of you guys, how did you ladies get into entrepreneurship? Like, what was it before they got you into it?
Well, when I was younger, my mom, I watched my mom struggle, and she used to, as they would call her, the candy lady. So I began to assist her then, and I knew then at a young age, I learned a lot of the skills that I have now to become the woman I am. So I decided that once I got a chance that I was going to begin to be my own boss, pretty much, so that I can leave a legacy back here for my children, grandchildren, and future great-grandkids.
Ms. Jasmine?
For me, my first business was back in 2009. I lost my aunt to cancer. So in her memory, I started a nonprofit organization. And after that, I have a little bit over 14 years worth of healthcare experience. And I also worked in the for-profit education industry. So I always had a dream of opening my own school. So my next business venture was First Coast Advanced Healthcare Training. And from then on, I've always had my PR firm, and we just always expanded. So for me, it somewhat came natural. But no one in my family, I really didn't have any guidance because no one in my family had businesses.
Right. And I know, Ms. Walker, you said that you saw how your mom struggled.
Yes.
And I was going to ask, did you have anybody else in your family that was kind of was like an entrepreneur, or did you see
No,
anybody?
I'm pretty much the very first one in my family. I was determined to break the generational curse, letting let my family know that you can be whatever you want to be, as long as you put your mind to it. I went through a lot of trials and different tribulations to get to where I'm at today, but I thank God that I've had the opportunity.
Yes. Now, are you ladies, both of you from this area, Jacksonville?
No, I'm a Columbia County resident, Lake City, Florida.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, let's get to the gas station a little bit. This was great. So, how did you ladies actually? How did you actually come up with the idea to purchase a gas station? Was it something like, where did this idea come from?
Well, basically, it goes back to her wanting she wanted a restaurant and a hookah lounge. And we went and we looked at all of these venues, and then after evaluating the market, I was telling her, look, it's a possibility that Jacksonville may be getting shut down. It's not the best timing during COVID in order to open a hookah lounge or a restaurant. So the next thing that I came across that was at a fair price was the gas station. So at first it was one of those things where I'm like, okay, I don't know if I want to present it to her. Do I present it to her? Because the next thing that was on the list was a liquor store. That was the next business. So when I presented it to her, she was like, okay, great. And the next step was just more so just looking at everything in black and white, making sure it was going to be worth the investment, and saying what additional steps needed to take place in order to actually go through with the process.
So what made you want to actually jump in on this business venture with her?
Well, in the beginning, we had a lot of objections that we had to overcome. So she actually presented it to me, and at first I was hesitant about it. My mentor Ron, me and him sat down and we evaluated it, and he was like, "Hey, I think it's a good thing for you to do." And he was like, "I've been knowing her my whole life. She's good people. You're not gonna have any problems or anything doing business with her." So it was just more so of us agreeing on the terms of everything.
Okay. And when you look for a business venture, I'll let both of you speak on this. What do you know is, how do you know it's something that you think is a good opportunity to invest in?
Well, we're gonna analyze the whole situation. We've started out in the office countless hours, going over different scenarios of the business before we decide we want to jump in. That's something that we want to go into. We make sure we check the what would I call it? What's going on in the world today. You know, what we think could be best.
And I guess it makes it a little bit easier because, like you said, with the hookah lines, you know, with COVID, it was gonna be hard to sustain it. But of course, with a gas station, you know, people travel, so they're gonna have to stop and get gas. I guess so. That kind of makes it a lot easier for you.
Yes.
So,
Oh no, during hurricanes and tropical storms, you very rarely see a gas station close down. So I knew that it would thrive in a pandemic.
mm-hmm. And also, what is the biggest thing? Speaking on this pandemic, would you say for you ladies was the biggest thing that you learned throughout this pandemic?
I think for both of us, the biggest thing that we learned is one, when you're creating and you're looking to invest, make sure that business is built to withstand anything.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the key things that I'm big on is, with me having a lot of years of experience in healthcare, I know healthcare isn't going anywhere. When I graduated out of high school, I told my mom, I was like, either it's the healthcare industry or it's law. So I completed 2.5 years of law school. Then my grandfather passed, and it was one of those things where financially I couldn't pay my way. So I had to basically resort back to the healthcare industry. So those are two of the main things in which I look at. And when we came together, it was one of the same things. It was like, okay, what's our next plan? What's our new business venture? So our newest business venture is the healthcare industry. And our whole goal is basically to corner the market, starting with non-emergency transportation, then opening several group homes for mentally challenged, mentally disabled, and getting into transitional housing as well. That's adult daycare centers.
How long do you work on a project before one business venture before you move on to the next venture that you have? Because I think I seen this article over the summertime, I believe. Sometimes during the summer, and you are still constantly expanding, which is a great thing. How long do you work on a project before it's like, okay, I have it established, and then it's time to do another business venture?
It all depends, and the reason in which I say it all depends is because me and Kim, we tag team. We work based upon each other's strengths and weaknesses. So for the most part, I may do like the research and everything, and then she'll make some phone calls, and then we tie everything in together. And whatever we don't do, we outsource it.
Yeah.
So with us being able to outsource a lot, we're able to get things up and running anywhere between 90 days. I think the gas station, we closed the deal with the gas station in less than 60 days.
Yes. And then between adventures, I think we've probably opened 2 in 1 month.
Yeah, we've opened 2 in 1 month throughout the entire pandemic. It's been a total of 7 business ventures that we've opened.
Yes, we created Boss Ladies on the Move, and that is to oversee all the other companies.
How long? Because it's amazing because you ladies are like opening them up so quickly, and it seems easy, but I know it's like a long process. But how is this process though? Because a lot of people, we have these ideas, and it's hard. We don't know which way to turn. Like, kind of like, what is like your process of like opening up these ventures? Like, what kind of advice would you have for other people that want to dive into entrepreneurship?
One, the first thing is it takes a lot of studying. You have to actually study. After you study the actual market and the industry, take the time to do a SWOT analysis. And it's very important because then you're going to see everything in black and white. If these businesses within your local area, if they're actually making money, if they're losing, that's the main thing. That's one of the main things in which we look at before we even just dive in, do an LLC, get an EIN number. We do SWOT analysis. We build relationships with people that are already in the market, and we basically let them know, hey, this is where we at. This is what we're looking to do. How has it been for you over these past years? And we try to find people that have been in the industry for like 20 years.
Or because their opinion really matters, their advice really matters, because you want to know what you're getting into before you get into it.
Mm. Who do you ladies, would you say you consult with? I know you're a business consultant. I know you have your mentor, but do you talk to these ventures with like close friends or family members, or do you just do it like with business savvy people who have these ideas, who already have these kind of business established? Because a lot of times, of course, like people who don't have a business vision, that never has this experience, they can't see what you see. But so who do you talk to when you have these kind of ideas?
I think in the beginning we used to try to reach out to people, and they weren't seeing our vision. They like, for instance, Boss Ladies on the Move. We were brainstorming with someone who we were looking to do business with. And it was like, oh, well, I don't see it this way. And she cut her at me, I cut up mine. Her was like, nope, can't do business with them. And I think from that point on, it's basically a phone call between me and her, and it's more so, okay, let's do some research.
Yes.
Let's find some people.
Yes. And then on top of that, we have family. I have 6 children. So they put in and help out a lot. And I also consult with a guy by the name of Sylvester Warren. He's from Lake City, Florida. So when I run up against something that I'm not quite sure on, I need further assistance on, I call him up. I call Ron the Don up, so it's different people that we do call and look to that give us business advice.
With all these ventures, is it hard to, be so hands-on with everything because you have so many things going on? How do you delegate those other tasks to other people? Is it hard to manage everything?
Well, the way in which we delegate it, if it's healthcare related, I take care of it. Everything that has to do with housing, real estate, that's her niche, and she oversees it. So it's basically broken down into 2. And then after we break it down into those 2 categories, I think we've made wise decisions about the people that we put in several different roles. So as far as the hands-on part, we're more so, I think they may see us like once a week, if that. But other than that, we're on conference calls, we're in business meetings, we're in the office.
In the gas station, something I read online was saying that you ladies, it was important for you, it was bigger than you ladies, kind of paraphrasing, because you wanted to create opportunity for those people with felons. Why was that so important for you? I mean, I love that idea, it's great, but I will let you ladies speak on that. Why was it so important to create those other opportunities?
So the Second Chance Felony program, that was basically me trying to incorporate another business venture that Kim had in mind, but it's going to take a while in order for us to start it, which it was a program, a transitional house for inmates when they're getting released from prison. So the idea was, okay, let's present a second chance felony program, because typically once you become a convicted felon, society looks at it as a scarlet letter. They don't try to give you a second chance. So our whole thing was, hey, let's be an example and show all these other businesses that, hey, it's nothing wrong with giving people a second chance.
Yes, because I am a product of that environment.
Oh, about the corporations, I'm sorry. And it was just saying something about you want to change the dynamic of like how corporations view people with those opportunities. How would you look at that the dynamic of like how corporations view people? Like, because I feel like a lot of times they take, of course, like you said, with African Americans, if you have like anything on your record, it's already an issue. Plus, like, I feel like a lot of times these corporations take us for granted anyway. It's just like, we're just a number to them anyway.
Yes.
So why was it so important also to, kind of like change that? How do you view the dynamic of like major corporations and to like African Americans?
Well, with me, as I stated before, I am a product of that environment. I ran up against a lot of roadblocks trying to get ahead. So it was very important to me to change that. And one of the things was to become an entrepreneur. to be able, so that I can open opportunities for others such as I. So, as I like to say, I like to change the narrative, and I like to say that I try to buy the block back because they limit us to so little.
Right.
They, I feel that we are underviewed, and as an African American, we are some very intelligent individuals. And they say the sky is the limit, but I tell people the sky isn't the limit. The sky doesn't have a limit. So don't allow anyone to limit you or your success or where you're trying to go at.
Absolutely. Just speaking of this, like when you have a job, we say this all the time. There's nothing wrong with having a job, but it's like it's only so far you can go. I feel like for African Americans anyway, it's like they'll let us move up the ladder to a certain point. And then that's it. It's like, okay, you're doing too good, you got enough, and we'll keep you there. And it's just like I don't like feeling like that. Like I'm chained. Like I can only go so far. It's like as an entrepreneur, when you go the entrepreneur route,
no extreme,
you know, like and I love to say that for us, it's like we like the best thing I like about it is like I don't know like what I can and can't do. It's like I feel like I could really honestly I feel like I can do anything. And it's just like you never know who you're gonna connect with. You reach out to people, just the experience that you have, when you connect with these people. Like we were saying, this is my first time getting on a flight. It's my first time flying on a flight.
Wow.
Yes.
But that was amazing.
Yeah, and I was just scared because I was just like, you know what? I don't know. I just like in my mind, like man, it's only. I always think planes go up and they come down. But I was like, you know what?
But that's the problem with a lot of us African Americans. We allow fear to get in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes my husband, he say, you know, babe, he say, boy, you don't have no fear. It's not that I don't have fear. What I do fear is the unknown, but I don't think there's nothing that I can't do. When you tell me what I can't do, I'm destined to show you what I can do.
Mm-hmm.
And if I come against any hurdles on my journey, I don't mind reaching out to ask someone for advice or whatever. But we got to start thinking. We got to start thinking outside the box. Let's go back to the sky's the limit. No, it's not. Don't never let anyone limit you on what you can and can't do. You just continue to do, and if it's meant to be, it's all gonna work out.
Mm-hmm. And I honestly did that to myself too. Just like, you know what, when we started out, we were just doing like local interviews. And a lot of times, like when I would read articles, I would see where people would be located. And I'm like, they too far away. Let me just stick to somebody like close by. Somebody that's at least close we can drive maybe a couple hours away. And I was like, you know what, if we really gonna do this, because I did a lot of broadcasting in college. And you know what, if I want to do this, man, I need to go all in and just. So we came up with the idea, we put together a tour, going to different places, and when ladies reached out and said, y'all in Jacksonville, I was like, you know what, let's go. So I was thinking we were gonna drive here, but then my camera guy,
you were like, for what?
Yeah,
Why?
he was like, man, he's like, this gonna be too far. He like, so we started looking up packages, and then our packages said we would just fly out from Charlotte. So I was like, all right, we flying now. Let's go. But man, it's really been one of the best feelings though. And I'm like, man, had I not just taking that chance, just invest, because we call it a self-investment tour. Had we not even taken that chance, we wouldn't even be sitting here right now, like being able to do those interviews. So that's one of my favorite things about entrepreneurship. Is just like you said, it's just limitless. You can do anything.
They call me the risk taker.
Risk taker.
Yes, I would take some risks.
Yes. But that's what it's all about, though. I think when you with a job, like you said, people just stay there because they feel like it's safe. And I've had and I had people tell me so many times, like, man, it's like you work. This is before I graduated from college. People would say, you work for a great job with benefits. You can just stay here and just retire. But it's just like, but I just look at what it does to the other people, older people that I work with, and they say how they hurt all the time and they gotta have surgery, and I'm like, I don't want to work here 30, 40 plus years just to retire, and then when I leave, I'm just hurt all the time.
Yes, I have a 6-year-old. She'll be 7 next week. When I had her, I was a supervisor at a plasma center, And I worked tirelessly hours. So my baby was calling her older sister mommy because mommy was out, putting in hours and wasn't really getting anywhere. And I think that's when I began to really make my mind up to begin to, because if I'm putting all this time in on someone else's job, I could put that same energy into becoming my own entrepreneur. And I knew that I had what it took to get me where I needed to go. I just had to have faith and step out of the box. And that's what we did. Me and my husband, we just started brainstorming, looking into different options. And then that's when we came over with Walker's Property Investment, which, by the way, is doing very well.
And I know you said it was your daughter. How did that make you feel when she would have to call her sister, mom?
It made me feel some type of way because that let me know that I wasn't giving the proper time that I needed to, but because I was working, trying to provide and make sure the household was being taken care of, I knew that I had to do what I had to do, but also I was not putting in enough time with my children like I should have.
Mm-hmm. And it's just like sorry to cut you off. It's just like you're on somebody else's schedule. They tell you when you gotta be there, how many hours you have to put in.
Gracefully get to work on time. Baby up all night, screaming, sick, going into work. But don't think that being an entrepreneur is easy too, because it's very challenging because you own that, so you got to get up and make things happen. You can't. You gotta have that willpower to get up every day and still work like you working for someone else, because you got to be motivated in order to succeed.
Mm-hmm. Because like I said, it's nobody telling you when you gotta be there, when you get off, none of that stuff. It's like everything.
You have a lot of self-control.
Absolutely.
Being an entrepreneur is not for the lazy.
No,
it's
not at all.
Not for the lazy.
Sometimes I come in the house and they be looking at me like, God, leave mama. Because I done been working from sun up to sundown, and I put those hours that I was putting in on someone else's job, I still have to put those in on mine. Being an entrepreneur, and the children, they look at me and they be like, God, mama, you look tired, and I be like, listen, it's not all. I make it look good, I make it look easy, but it's some work, time, dedication that I have to put in. Yes.
And you be away from your family.
Mm-hmm.
I know, being on tour, I think I was away from my family for a little bit over 6 months. And I was just going from tour bus to flight, from flight to tour bus, hotel, Airbnb. So it's a lot of sacrifices.
Yeah.
And I gotta be an entrepreneur, and what they say, a soccer mom. I got a son, he played football, and he keeps me. He gonna call, Mama, you coming to the game, son? I won't miss it. I'm there, So it's like I have to multitask. I have a lot, and I have grandkids, so it's like I'm constantly busy.
And it's like those moments you don't get them back.
No, you don't get them back. That's why I treasure those moments.
Absolutely. What would you say, is like some characteristics of an entrepreneur?
Dedication, strong willpower. You gotta be relentless. You gotta be a go-getter.
Yes.
A
risk taker.
Yeah, we gotta be a risk taker.
How do you handle, like I said, okay, you win and you lose, but it's kind of like a lesson. So how do you handle that when something doesn't work out the way you thought it would?
At the end of the day, I know prior to me and Kim meeting, I took $100,000 loss. And the only thing I could do was, get over it. It's not an easy loss, but you have to accept it. And I remember I took the loss and I went to Palm Coast. I had to get out of Jacksonville, and I went into a deep depression. And my brother called me. My brother called me and he was like, "Hey, you gotta do something. You gotta get back. You gotta bounce back." He was like, "I know you about to hate what I'm about to tell you, but he was like, you gotta eat that loss." He said, "You gotta let it go." Mm-hmm. So I was like, "Man, you crazy." So I was like, "Nah." I was like, "I'm gonna be fine. I'm just work. I'm gonna make it back." He said, "It's not gonna happen." He said, "The quicker you accept the fact that you took $100,000 loss," he said, "then you can recoup." So finally, about a year and a half ago, I accepted that loss. And I always get asked, like, hey, if you could change anything in life, would you change that? No, I wouldn't. Because me being the individual in which I am, at a young age, I never established credit. It wasn't until I took that loss that I learned how to establish credit. I learned about the importance of credit. And not only that, for me, it was a very humbling experience, because sometimes when you're around celebrities and people that are on a certain level, sometimes you get big-headed. So for me, that was just my time for me to say, okay, God, I see you, I hear you. So for me, it's a life lesson. You write it off, you wipe yourself off, you get back up, and you know what? Now when it comes to me investing, I evaluate things way much more instead of just saying, hey, that's a loyal person, I can trust them, and I can put my money over here. No.
Doing my entrepreneurship, I took some major losses, but I look at it like this. Those losses that I took, I got double for my trouble. I am a child of God. So my thing is, what you thought that you took from me, He just blessed me with double.
I can imagine. Like, I just think when you said 100,000, man, I would have been sick right now. But like you said, it still works out for the better. And like you said, it made you more like cautious of like who to trust in business and where you put your money.
A little more cautiously, and you can't. With the people that you think wouldn't do it, be the ones that wind up doing it. So with me, I'm a little bit more cautious in that area, and I'm just now learning how to move with a business partner. Other than that, I just did it.
What would you say for you ladies was like the toughest business decision that you had to make?
Toughest business decision I've had to make. I think for me, it's cutting people off. Because most people will say, hey, I took $100,000 loss, I ain't dealing with that person. Believe it or not, it's hard for me to cut people off. I just got to the point where now I've realized that everyone isn't meant to be in your life forever. Everyone has their season. So when that season is over, my hardest thing was I would hold on to dead weight, and they would end up dragging me down with them.
Mine is, I'm a compassionate person, believe it or not. And when I have to terminate someone, that bothers me a little, but I also have to realize that it's business, it's nothing personal.
How does family look at you ladies with everything that you go on? Do they sometimes, when you see with professional athletes and everything, like family, when somebody in the family makes it big, I think they think everybody has to take care of them, and then eventually athletes, when they hang it up for good, then they go broke. But how does family look for you guys? Do they gravitate towards you, or do they just seek business advice? How do they look at you guys with all the success that you have?
I'm a loner, honestly. But whenever people see me, you'll always see my mama. I don't think there's anyone that knows me that can honestly say, hey, I've never seen my mom. That's like my best friend, but we have our ups and downs as well. But outside of my mom, it's probably my mom, my brother, my grandmother, and my grandfather when he was alive. When I would tour, I would just take them with me.
Wow.
Like my brother, when I went on tour, we did K. Michelle and Rick Ross tour. I had him and my mom backstage. My grandfather, prior to him passing, he liked Snoop Dogg, so being able to take him backstage, and he didn't know it was Snoop Dogg, he would say Snoopy Doggy Doggy Dog. So when he finally having him to be able to meet people like that, overall it's a good feeling. But outside of my immediate family, I'm a loner.
Well, my family, I don't have a whole lot of family, but the ones that I do have, which is my sister, I have a brother that's living and I have a sister that's living. and they help me out the best they can. My thing is, if they don't have any money, you know, I show out, hey, I'll show you the way, here it is right here, you know, so I don't mind employing them to, you know, and they jump in and help me try to, you know, they are who help me to try to keep the business afloat. And then I have, like I said, I have 4 grown adults, children, so they come in and they help me a lot. A lot of them, they look at me, I aspire a lot, and I try to, you know, let them know, you know, to be an entrepreneur, you know, to try to reel them in to see that you can be, and they help me out a lot.
And I was going to ask you about the children. Is that something you really want them to do, or do you just leave it up to them whether they want to work for somebody or become an entrepreneur?
Well, I leave it up to them. Let them make their own choices, but I try to lead by example. I like to let them see the ins, the outs, the pros and the cons of being an entrepreneur. And I, as a mother would not want them to lead more on to being their own boss, being their own, you know, owning their own things, and that's another reason why I'm setting things up to put them in position. So everything that we have acquired, it passes down to them.
How important is that? Because
That's very important.
Because when we talk about it from a standpoint of growing up, for me personally, like I always saw my parents just getting up and going to work for somebody else.
Yes.
And like it's like when you grow up that way, that's all that you see. So then it's like maybe that's all that's going to happen for you. And it wasn't until like graduating from college and I had all this debt and working 2 jobs and just over and over repeating the same thing that I was like, you know, I want to try something differently. You know, like I said, I was doing the broadcasting and I just thought I would work at ESPN or Fox after I graduated, but that opportunity didn't come, so I had to, I navigated different jobs and I worked at a radio station for a little while, but then once my $500 bill and student loan came in, I had to leave because I wasn't making enough. But I still took the experience that I had there and translated to that. They taught me how to like run a radio show or edit audio and different things like that. But I was like, you know, I want to break the cycle of just, you know, seeing my family do that. I want to do the same thing so with my children they can see like it's okay to have your own opportunity. How important is it to like be around entrepreneurs?
Well, with me, I was determined to break that cycle. I tell my kids, I don't do this more so for me, but more so for them and my grandkids and my future grandkids. I had one time I called out for help and needed them to help me do something, and they didn't want to do it, and I'm like, so I had to call a meeting because I don't mind calling family meetings. I had to sit down and listen. I'm getting older. I can't take any of these possessions with me. This is for y'all, you know. So I had to break it down to them, you know. If I ask you for help, you know, because I'm not that type of person too much ask for help. And the thing is, just like I told him, I say it's more so for y'all than for me. What I'm doing, I'm setting up for y'all to be able to prosper in life. Like they say, people born into money. I would like for my future grandkids and my grandkids to be born into that. So it's very important for me to leave a legacy.
And generational wealth, because I think I shared the story one time before on the podcast, and the guy that was making our t-shirts for our business, he was telling me about one of the guys that was working for him. He was just like, yeah, I had let him go, he was just missing so much time, but he was just telling me how like over time, when something happened to the guy's grandparents, like the grandparents had like 3 farms and they gave each one of the grandchildren a farm. And it's like a lot of times in our community, we don't have passed anything down. It's just like a lot of debt, and a lot of times our families are stuck with debt. So it's like that generational wealth is so important.
And that's something that I'm currently studying. We're looking into more generational wealth. Like I'm learning about the $1 million insurance policies and things like that to expose our children to, in order to begin to get that generational wealth created.
What do you ladies feel like is the biggest hurdle for like our black community overall? I know we just like definitely generational wealth, but what else would you ladies think would be like an issue with our
I would
community?
say honestly the lack of education when it comes to credit. Because one of the main things when I first started my school, First Coast Advanced Career Training, a lot of people don't realize that when you go to these career college and these technical colleges, basically they prey on individuals that are unemployed or underemployed. So actually working in that industry and seeing that, my overall goal was to be able to assist and provide affordable training so that individuals didn't get in debt. So that was one of the main things in which we did, because you can go to some colleges, you can take a CNA or a PCT course, and it's going to cost you $25,000 to $30,000. Then you might go to a community college and it might cost you $10,000. But then you also have other independent standalone schools where you can go get your CNA or your PCT for less than $500. So it's just actually sitting down and showing individuals, one, the importance of education, but also knowing that, hey, you can get an affordable education and not get into debt and mess up your credit.
Right. It's a lot of debt because, like I said, in school they didn't really teach us like the finances and stuff like that. It's a lot of like life lessons that we didn't learn, and it's just like I wish a lot of stuff that I know now I wish I would have knew back then.
Yes.
But it's like, man, I don't know. For me, I don't like really saying, but it's like if my kids don't want to go to college, I'm not going to force them to do it. I'm like, you know what? And then honestly, sometimes I think if I had to co-sign, would I be wrong for not co-signing? Because it's just like, it's not me not wanting them to go get their education. It's just like I don't want them to have to go through what I went through with everything that was going on, because it's so much debt, and you don't have to go to college to be successful.
I have some college, but I've acquired all of this without a college degree.
And for me,
It can be done.
For me, I would think it's a great, like, for somebody that wanted to start a business. I think one of the better things they can do is, like, if they're not sure what they want to do yet. I know you ladies are busy, but just overall with any successful entrepreneur, it's just like go to them, hey, would you mentor me and stuff? Because they can teach you the ins and outs of like what it is to run a day-by-day operation.
Do you know how many walls I ran in trying to do it by myself until I made that conscious decision to invest in myself and reach out to a business consultant? That's when things really began to open up for me.
How important is that to like have a mentor in your life? Because a lot of times, sometimes we do have problems. We don't want to ask for things, or we just don't know. Well, how important was having a mentor for both you ladies in your careers?
I mean, with my mentor, one thing I can honestly say with Ron, he pushed me beyond my comfort level. He would literally call me 2 o'clock in the morning like, hey, I need a flyer design. I'm not a graphic designer. I don't know how to do that. Figure it out. He was like, I need it by tomorrow, 12 o'clock noon. I know you can do it. I'm like, what? You're crazy. So then I'll get on YouTube University, Google it,
Everything.
go in Photoshop. Okay, let's figure this out. Then I send it over to him. Then he'll come back at me. Hey, I had an idea. Let's release a magazine. I'm like, by when? Next week. Huh? So he always challenged me. Whenever I just felt like, hey, I only do public relations. Hey, I only do business consulting. He would say, okay, I know what you're capable of doing, so let's explore this. So with Ron, if it wasn't for him, I probably would have just stuck to only offering business consulting and also public relations, and I would have stuck with music entertainment, because for a little bit over 10 years, everyone just knew me as far as music entertainment. Because of him, I was able to actually go outside of music entertainment, explore NFL players as well as basketball players, and become a sports publicist as well. So having a mentor was very important for me, because he had a vision outside my vision that I didn't even see.
As for me, I don't have a mentor. I did a lot of self-reliance, but I am looking into getting a mentor because I'm at that stage where I've been needed one, but I just hadn't had the time to sit down to get a mentor. So
Do you ladies feel like because of all the success that you've had, that you've seen people try to gravitate more towards you because of your success instead of like you as a person, or because like they may look at it like, okay, she's doing so much, but she has something that she can offer instead of like just being there for you and like being supportive instead they just want to be there because of like all the success that you have.
Yeah, I mean, you run into the vultures. I mean, that comes with anything. I mean, you can be a nobody and you're still gonna have vultures. But I mean, that's where you have to protect your energy. Mm-hmm. And I think me and Kim, we're very big on protecting our energy. It's been several times when we've been in a room and we felt the energy shift and we'll just have to leave. Because at the end of the day, we only have ourselves and we have to protect our energy.
I've had price go up on me just because of
they
say your name. I mean, I've had to deal with quite a bit of stuff, but I refuse to be defeated.
When do you know when it's time to like just shut it down and just say no to something, like whether it's like opportunity people wanted something or anything, like when do you know it's just time to say no, I just can't do it?
I mean,
well, with me, that young man gonna tell you what you need to know. You just gotta listen to him. I've stayed up all night trying to tussle with the idea, and then I come to my decision because that energy is very important, and you have to protect it because you already have a lot on your plate, and the stress level is already like to the roof, and with being a compassionate person, you want to help everybody, but you got to know who really need that help and who really just doing something. And once you tell them no, you'll find out.
Absolutely. What do you ladies think hinders a lot of black-owned business? You have a lot of experience, so what would you say hurts like a lot of black-owned business and why they don't last over time?
Customer service. Customer service is very important, as well as consistency. And you have to treat everyone across the board the same because you never know who knows who. It's been times because one thing I don't do, and my mentor gets on me a lot, I don't brand myself. I hide behind my clients. So a lot of times I'll walk in a store and I'm either shopping or I'm grabbing something on behalf of my client. And I'll literally just have to get up and walk out because the customer service sucks so bad.
Well, with me, I think customer service is very important. Everybody go through different things in their life. I tell my employees as well as myself, we treat everybody the same. It don't matter their nationality, don't matter any of that. If you're having a bad day, call and ask me, can you take the day off? Because you're having a bad day, we'll work on that. Because I'd rather for you not to go in and cost me business because of your attitude. So I think customer service is very important.
Absolutely. That's something definitely customer service, because a lot of times you go to a lot of these places and you want to support them because it's a black-owned business, but then sometimes they just like
word of mouth is very important.
Yeah, word of mouth is very important.
It will make your business quite will break your business. So you have to be very careful.
I saw something earlier, I think it was yesterday, back home. It was like somebody left a remark about a business. I wanted to support them, but they were just rude and tell me they just like.
But now, I kind of with that situation. How would I say it? I think a lot of them don't give us a fair chance. I guess they expect more from us, but they can go to Walmart, Wawa, and all of these different big chain, and they don't put them on blast as quick as they will a black business. I mean, they run to social media. Like the first couple of weeks into the gas station, oh man, they saw me. I had to shed some tears because some accusations came up that I knew was false. First thing they did, ran to social media with it, and once it get out there, it's like wow,
it's
people,
hard to be undone.
yes, and it's like. And it's like what you had to do at Walmart. Like, you didn't even try to come back to let us fix the situation. And then when you found out the truth, you didn't even go back to social media to do a public apology.
No.
You just bash that business. But you don't even have the guts to go back. Then you got all the bandwagoners to get on there. Oh, you know how it goes, and but still you have to remain professional, even though you was
right. And that's what I said. A lot of times it does kill a lot of our business. Like people don't care. Like if it's some drama or something, everybody want to pile on.
Exactly. Nobody takes the time to investigate to see if the information is factual or not.
As an African American, we already have a lot against us. We have to endure a lot of things. We run up against things. If you were of a different race, it would be different. So then to have your own to come at you like that is like, wow. You want everybody to make it, but some people just haven't made it there yet.
And there's a lot of times they don't expect much of us for some reason. And then a lot of times they want discounts and different things like that. And it's like you don't negotiate with other businesses.
Yeah, you don't go on Walmart and say, hey, I can get a discount, or I'm gonna pay you $5 for that. No, you don't go to Walmart and do that. So
this definitely hurts a lot of our business in our community. We have to keep supporting each other.
That's why I go back to they expect different things from you than they will from Walmart, etc.
And we definitely have to change that perception. As black women, how do you feel like it's hard? Did you have a harder path as an entrepreneur as black women?
Oh, definitely. It's definitely harder. I mean, behind obtaining the franchise, it's a lot that is untold, because honestly, the process that we went through, the whole time I had to say, I'm negotiating this contract on behalf of my client. Because in the beginning phases, we were faced with, does your client have a visa? Does your client have a passport? Is your client from, what was the question? Is your client Middle Eastern? So it was a lot of red flags, and I'm like, we ain't gonna be able to close this deal if they find out we African American.
And then things like that, they get different breaks that we don't get, And why? This is how, we are in America. So me and tell we can't get those same breaks. Why do we have to go through something? And then being a woman, so you just...
That's why I said it's definitely tough for you ladies, because for one, they definitely don't look at African Americans like they look at anybody else anyway. And then women, being a woman on top of that, it's just like, man, we have a harder fight for everything.
Yes.
We have to go through things with a fine tooth comb versus, our counterpart, which is of a different race, just get looked at, stamp, and keep moving. But we have to go through.
And if you speak out and speak your mind, then it's like, oh, she's angry. And
you're automatically labeled as an angry black woman.
That's far from the case. It's just that my voice will be heard.
Absolutely. I don't want to get too much into politics, but I want to ask you ladies, what did having Kamala Harris, a future black vice president, do for you ladies? How did that make you feel?
It made me feel like I could be the next vice president. But no, I'm not running for it. But anyway, it made me feel
I think after the last 4 years, I think anybody could.
Yes. It just proved to me what I've been telling people for the longest, that as African Americans, don't limit us. We are some top dogs. We can make some things happen. Just my philosophy. I got a lot of faith in the African American race that it's nothing we can't do.
Right.
Nothing we can't do.
I think for me it was a great symbol. I know everybody says she has a past, but all of them have a past.
Everybody has a past. Yeah.
But I just look at it like a symbol of hope. Eventually, me personally, I think she's going to end up being the president. For some reason, part of me feels like she kind of had to take the back seat of the VP, because I don't think America is ready to see a black woman as a president of the United States. But I definitely think it's going to be something.
And the reason for that, because they say that women are made up of emotions.
Mhm.
So they don't think that when a tough decision is being made that we'll make the right decision, but they're not that way.
I definitely disagree on that.
I definitely disagree.
Because I feel, to me, I just feel like, you know, I just look at my mom and my aunts, you know, just women are just like natural and nurturers. Like, for me, black women just always, even when we may not even have anything, but they figure out a way to make everything work.
Like I tell people, and this just my political opinion, I tell people, I say, you think ran the White House when Obama was in the seat? I say, Michelle did that, you know, because we be behind every successful man. I'll say, I'm gonna shoot 98% of it be that black woman that's encouraging him, that's that mouthpiece, that's egging him on to help him in that position. So that's just my political opinion that Michelle did right into that.
Yeah. She definitely played her part 100%. And I just like another thing is like, if they didn't let Hillary do it, she was a white woman, you know, it wasn't
You
going
know
to
what happened.
Yeah, but
they're not ready yet, but get ready.
I think hopefully we get in that direction.
Get ready. We're gonna take over some things.
Absolutely. What would you ladies' message be to other young black women of color who want to get into entrepreneurship?
I would say honestly, don't allow anyone to tell you can't do anything. Because you can do anything. If anyone tells you, hey, I'm not willing to help you, if you reach out to them and you know they have that business, they don't want to give you any information, Google, YouTube, do what you have to do. If they won't let you through the front door, kick in the back.
Absolutely.
And be your own motivator, you know, because you know everybody not going to support you. Everybody not going to be there. We've ran against those type of things, but I say be you know, motivate yourself, you know, do what motivates you.
Just a few more questions and then we'll get ready to wrap it up. What did entrepreneurship make each of you realize about yourself that you may not have seen in the beginning?
That I'm a born fighter. That I'm stronger than what I thought I was. And that I'm determined to succeed.
I'll probably have to agree with her. I never knew how strong I was until I became a business owner. I never looked at myself as a leader either until I actually heard several people refer to me as an owner. Like, I looked at everything in which I accomplished. I'm like, hey, you know, little old me accomplished a lot. So being an entrepreneur definitely showed me how strong I am and what I'm capable of doing.
And me being a strong-willed person really, I always knew that I was strong-willed, but to see it in action just it blows me sometimes.
It's just a journey. You just come a long way.
I know sometimes I still go back and look at our videos, and I was Googling the other day because I was updating our EPKs. I'm like, dog, it's us.
Yes.
we made it on here. Hey, that's me. So.
But you appreciate the journey. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was saying, who would have thought someone like such as Kimberly?
And I think it's just so important for people to, when they look at you ladies and everything that you accomplish, like it's women and of course people of color in general. Like when we see you ladies, just inspiring to us to know that we can do the same thing instead of, you know, you turn on the TV, we're just like athletes and entertainers. We're just entertaining other people, but we don't. Even those guys, they don't own anything. So in any given time, when they're ready to let these entertainers or athletes go, then it's a done deal. They don't own those teams or anything like that. So it's so important for us to create our own opportunities and work with each other. And speaking of that, please touch on how important it is for our community, like group economics and working with each other. You know, a lot of times when money gets involved, that's one of the big issues with our communities. Like, well, this person making this much, they making this much. So that's one of the things that kind of like divides our community. Like, how important is it like for economics and like working together?
I would say it's very important. I feel like everyone should have learned that throughout the pandemic. If you didn't take away anything else, you should have taken away the importance of ownership. Because I know one thing I can say about my grandparents growing up. My grandparents, they owned 15 acres of land. And back when I was in middle school, the city came through and made them an offer to purchase their property. And my grandfather would not sell the property because they owned the property, they owned the houses, they didn't have a mortgage, nothing. And they also had their businesses on that property. So for me at an early age, that is something that I admired. Because when my mom got married, they ended up giving her, I think, 2.5, 3 acres of land as her wedding gift for her to build a house on that property. And once again, it was the same thing. So if we can actually get in the mindset, because a lot of people, they, I don't want to say brag, but we feel like, oh, I just closed on a house, I own my house. No, you need to go buy the property, then build that house. Right. Then we can talk about ownership, because you're still having to pay a mortgage. You're still going to have to go through the refinancing process. So it's not actual ownership. Right. You're no better than anyone else who pays rent because you're paying a mortgage. That's the way I see it.
But that's a different way to look at it, because a lot of times when I see it all the time on Facebook, online, people will post pictures of like home ownership, which is a great thing, but you like, that's just from an entrepreneurship, like through the lens that you're looking at, you see it totally different from the way they see it.
Yeah, because I think me and Kim, we ran into a situation, and we run into it a lot. A lot of people are looking into franchising, and you have franchising, and you also have leasing, and then you have ownership. The difference is, you might be leasing a gas station, a convenience store, but your name is not attached to it.
Right. Your
name is not attached to that gas contract. So when you're saying, oh, I own, no, you don't. Giant Gas or whoever that oil contract is with, or whoever the real owner is, they're still getting the bulk of that money. They're gonna pay you what they want to pay you because you're just the leasee.
Right.
So I think as soon as we get a fair understanding of what true ownership is, then together as a whole, we can then move. Yes. And we can grow.
Absolutely. And something else, please speak on the like with the pandemic, like you said, it made a lot of people realize a lot of different things. But I think one of the most critical things besides racism, because clearly people seen like when everything shut down with the George Floyd situation, everybody seen how it magnified the issue of racism in America. But also it was just the multiple streams of income, because a lot of people, they only had their one source, was just their job. And then when that was taken away, a lot of people were in a situation where they couldn't pay their rent or mortgage or anything like that. Speak on like the importance for people watching this of like having those multiple streams of income.
That's one of my biggies. I tell people all the time, have more than one income coming in, because as you stated, in the pandemic, people was unable to pay for their mortgage, unable to keep their cars and things. They was losing these things because they was looking at that one particular stream of income coming in. It's very important to have a few things going at one time. Like I said, everybody not meant to be an entrepreneur. Some people will still continue to go to their jobs, and I applaud you, but also get you, as I would call it, a couple side hustles going on, which is different streams of income coming in. You got, clothing, hair, you got eyelash, you got a lot of different things that you can invest in, so that if one door closes, you still have these other entities bringing in to help you to make it through the pandemic.
Absolutely. What would you, ladies, if you had to lay out like a blueprint, just your own personal blueprint, what would you say is like a blueprint for entrepreneurship?
Well, we actually have an ebook that is basically the blueprint to entrepreneurship, because it takes you from start to finish on what steps need to be taken in order for you to become an entrepreneur. As far as doing your research, networking, marketing, starting that LLC, and then taking the next steps as if you wanted to franchise your business out, and making sure your business is structured the right way. Because I think one of the main things I come across as far as being a business consultant, a LLC may not be what you need in order to properly structure that business idea the correct way. So,
like with me, when I first started, I was trying to do things on my own. So I kind of came up against a couple different issues that now, as I became, it's important to invest in yourself. That's when I reached out to a business consultant. And that's when I learned that I had to go back over the paperwork that I did to restructure my business the proper way. And that's why it's important to try to reach out to others. If you don't know, don't try to figure it out. Because I tell people, if I know what I knew now, then I would be in a different position than I were. Because back then, I was trying to figure it out on my own instead of me reaching out to someone to ask for help. Now I had to go back to redo those things when, just ask someone for help, and that's when we've created the ebook to try to help people to understand.
These would be my final 2 questions, and then we'll get ready to wrap it up. If you had to do anything on your journey differently, what would those be? What would it be?
Invest more in myself.
What would I do differently? I probably would have outsourced more, because Kim gets on me a lot. My mentor gets on me a lot. Because I know how to do so much, it's hard for me to outsource things because I'm scared that it's not going to get done properly. So then I end up getting overwhelmed. So I would definitely outsource a lot of my responsibilities and my tasks.
This is the Cross the Line podcast self-investment tour. So we've been asking everybody that's been on while we're on our tour, what does self-investment mean to each of you?
If I would have taken the time to invest in myself, I want to be where I am today. So it's very important. Self-investment, if I consider myself a self-investment, self-made, because I literally, back in 2007, Opulence Firm was just a vision. If I wouldn't have took the chance with the indie artist, and I literally had to pay for my flight, the actual show was in Carolina. I had to fly out to Carolina. I had to pay for my flight because it was an indie artist. He was opening up for DMX and Ja Rule and a lot of other artists. If I wouldn't have invested in myself to go to his show in order to pass out flyers, pass out CDs, walk him through his interviews, that guy never would have found me because I never would have taken that photo backstage.
Right.
And if that photo never would have been taken, I wouldn't be known as a celebrity publicist.
Yes. And with me, I believe in investing in yourself because you have your vision. And some people not going to always see your vision. When I started to reach out to others, I listen to different webinars. I pour into myself, trying to learn and different things in the business area. So investing in yourself is very important. If you don't know the answer, somebody may charge you for it. You want it?
Pay for it, yeah. You have to invest in yourself eventually. Some people say fake it till you make it, but understand this, you can only fake it for so long.
That's true. Yeah, the self-investment is, I just had to call it a self-investment tool because honestly, that's what this whole thing has been since I started. When I didn't receive those opportunities, like I said, I had to invest in myself and create my own opportunity. And only thing I had at the very beginning was all I had was a laptop, and I would just go to different places and just sit down and just like interview different entrepreneurs. And luckily, I was able to. What I learned from the radio station was to edit the audio, so I just knew that. I took that experience and tied it in with the podcast, and I just took my laptop and I would just record wherever I went to, and then my partner tagged along, and then we got the cameras, and then just recently, like the microphones and everything, I told myself, if we're going on tour, I want to go ahead and make sure we have the best quality. So what I did was I invested myself. I talked to my big brother, and he said, let's just hold off. I shared this story on one of the other episodes, but I told my big brother, because I talked to him a lot about a lot of the things I'm gonna do, and he was like, man, just wait, let me talk to my wife, and we're gonna try to find you some equipment. But I'm the type, I don't like to ask for a lot of stuff, so if I have to do it myself, then I'm just gonna go do it. So I went ahead, I went to Best Buy, then I went to a guitar center and bought some equipment, bought the microphones, bought this mixer and everything else. And when I told him about it, he's like, man, I told you to wait. You should have just waited on me. And I had to shoot so I ended up having to shoot a show we have in our community, Union's Time. We talk on a Tuesday, and he was texting me saying, we're gonna go eat. All the fellas gonna go eat Wednesday. So I said, all right, I'm gonna come with you. So we went to Wild Wings, and so we finished eating. Next thing I know, one of my best friends, he went out to the car, and he came back with this big box. And I tell people, this is how I know God is real. I was like, man, I bought all this equipment for myself. I said, I'm self-investing to I'm investing in myself. And then the next thing you know, they came in with like a full equipment, like these microphones here. I have a bigger mixer that I don't even know how to use it, so I had to use the one that I have. But I have a big mixer that does everything. We had the microphones, the headsets, and it was just like, I said, God will just walk with you as long as you just believe in yourself and invest. So I just took that initiative, and like I said, a lot of times it's just like, how bad do you really want it? Like, if you really want it, you will do it. So I'm just the type, like, I'm just go out there, bet on myself, and invest in it. And then when I did, it's like a lot of people now, like, man, I just believe in what you're doing. Just keep going. Like, they continue and keep on going.
Because you will have those that stand behind it, that see your vision and stand behind you. And I like to say God placed different people in your path to get you to your next level.
And it's like you never know who's watching either. Because I have times when people inbox me that's not even from around, and they're like, man, I like what you're doing, man. Keep going. You inspired. It's like, I appreciate it.
I get that a lot. People say that I inspire. I'm still learning how to embrace that, because sometimes I don't feel that I'm worthy of it. So I'm still learning how to embrace it.
I'm the same here. It's a learning curve every day. It's like you always have to be willing to learn. Like I tell everybody, a lot of times I make a post, I might say things like, man, we just getting started, like with everything that we're doing, because it's just a learning curve. And I tell everybody, I'm not perfect, but I just, even when I messed up, like I did earlier with this part, like I just kept going, like I just figured out. But along your journey, you just have to keep on going, and things will work out. But if you just wait until the right time, then it's never gonna be a right time to invest in yourself and start your journey.
Yeah, you gotta take that leap of faith, because I just like I told the story about how we met. If he went about doing things the way he did, I never would have met her. And the way we went about doing business, honestly, it was supposed to be, we did the contract and everything. It's supposed to be the franchise, and that was it. We didn't, but God saw fit, and his vision was bigger than ours. So here we are today, in seven businesses through the pandemic. We've been able to form together, and it's been a blessing.
Absolutely, it's amazing. They see something, both of you, to put you ladies together. That's just amazing. Like I'm just amazed. I love to see what you ladies have accomplished so much. This is what I wanted to ask you ladies, because we had this conversation yesterday. We were just talking about, man, we always, for us African Americans, we're like, man, how do we? You ladies purchase a gas station together, but we were talking about, man, how do you purchase one? Because for us working a regular 9 to 5, we're like, man, you gotta have this amount of money. Like, it's gonna take. We always think, man, it's gonna take forever just to save this amount of money. That's what it's like. Entrepreneurship is no limit to what you can accomplish. Like, but when you work somewhere, it's like, if you just were living off of that salary, it's like you got a budget and everything, but it's like it'll take forever. So for you ladies, like, talk to people. When we're wrapping up after this, it's like, anytime they want to make these major purchases and business investments, would you say go about it like as a group, take out a loan, or anything. Like, what are your advices like as far as like somebody may want to make a major purchase like you ladies did?
I mean, of course, I'm big on research. So, I mean, I've come across gas stations that were ground zero that you would have had to rehab that you could have got as low as $15,000. I've seen some that's $100,000, seen some that's $40,000. So it just varies where you are on your path. For us, by the grace of God, still to this day, we can sit here before you and actually say we received zero funding. We didn't receive a PPP loan.
No.
We didn't receive anything. It's been 100%, hey, what you got? I got this. I can bring this to the table. I can do this. And that's how we've been able to make things happen. If you qualify for grants, grants are great. If you don't qualify for grants, we do have Boss Ladies on the Move, and we do assist with funding. So if you don't have to be an African American, male, female, you can be any ethnicity. You can give us a call, you can find us on Facebook, and we can assist you through that process. And as far as structuring your business and getting you funded.
Absolutely. We appreciate you ladies. It's been a joy and a privilege. We've been enjoying our time down here in Jacksonville. I've been telling people, I love it, man. It's just like, I love to see in a community like this, like, it's just like our people, coming together. And we were saying, we seen it was like we saw a mechanic, like we had a tire shop. I was like, our people, we really have everything that we need to make it. We just invest in ourselves and invest in our community. Like, we can do everything any other race can. So we definitely
got more.
Yep. And I just been enjoying it down here. It's like give me vibes like a little bit of like Atlanta. The thing I like more about here than Atlanta is just the traffic. Like the traffic in Atlanta is just.
I mean, we have like, if you go on Orange Park the wrong time, you have traffic, and if you get on the 295 around 5-6 o'clock, you got traffic. But it's not consistent like Atlanta. It's just certain times.
And a lot of people be scared to come to Jacksonville. Oh, you stay in Jacksonville? I'm like, it's not that bad. A lot of things that, of course, the news is going to portray it to be one way, but it's just not that bad.
Yeah, it was, we were at the airport, getting our rental car once we landed at the airport. I think the lady was there, was like, this Jacksonville, this, you gotta watch where you going around here. This the murder capital of Florida right here.
That everybody loves calling it. Yeah.
You stay in your own lane. You don't have
mind your own business. You ain't got nothing to worry about. We have all the areas where you might not want to go, but
that's everywhere.
Yeah, that's everywhere.
Anywhere you go,
everywhere has that place where you might want to go.
Turn around and kill somebody. I'm like, listen, they have their own thing going on. You stay in your own lane. Don't swerve. You're fine.
Yeah, you ain't got nothing to worry about. Because I know I grew up here, and even growing up in Jacksonville, my mom would always tell me, look, don't go to Moncrief, don't go to Flag Street, don't go out east. So as soon as I got,
I'm not even from here.
As soon as I got grown, where did I go? Everywhere she told me not to go.
Through the city. And one thing about Jacksonville, they allow you to get lost in the city.
Yeah.
I'm from a little country, as they call us, country folks. Which is Lake City, so everybody know everybody there. But here in Duval, they allow you to get lost in the city. Yeah. Nobody got time to focus on Kim, and what she got going on. So I love that about
her.
her.
Yeah, I love it down here. It's just
I love it.
The experience like that we've had since we got here, everything. There's a lot of places here that we don't even have back home. So it's like, yeah. So I'm just like, man, it's just been fun. But I know for you, it's like, man, this is like since you here, it's like
For me, I'm born and raised here, and so it's like it's boring.
So y'all from New York?
We're from South Carolina.
South Carolina. Okay.
Yeah, we're from South Carolina. I'm from Jonesville, South Carolina. He's from Spartanburg, so we're about like 30 minutes apart, but we work together. So.
Okay.
So that's how we ended up partnering up and traveling everywhere together. But yeah, if anybody comes to South Carolina, I'm just like, man, it is what it is. Well, where I'm from, we don't have much there anywhere. Anyway, we have like 3 lights in our own town.
Oh, wow. Yeah, like Lake City.
Yeah, we got one by the high school.
Everybody know everybody.
It's high school, fast field, and then by the mini mart. So I remember exactly where those lights are.
Wow, literally 3 lights.
Yeah, we have 3 lights. And you just
I would go crazy.
Yeah.
I think when we were on tour, like that was one of the things that drove me crazy. We would be like in small parts of Georgia and small parts of Carolina, and you know, I'm from here. I'm used to like being able to go out, explore, and like y'all got like what a Walmart at? Oh, we don't have a Walmart. What? Where y'all go? We got a Piggly Wiggly. What is that? So that was like one of my major adjustments when I used to travel a lot.
Yeah, we don't have Piggly Wiggly no more. That's one of the things.
All right, so but y'all had one.
We had one now.
Yeah,
we had one back in the day. I actually saw a Winn-Dixie here too when we went and we get something to eat when we came back from the airport.
Y'all don't have a Winn-Dixie?
No, we don't have Winn-Dixie anymore.
Really?
It's been years ago.
Yeah, we still have Winn-Dixie. We no longer have food line.
Winn-Dixie.
Yeah, well, I can't remember. Now my daughter's mom, where she stayed at in the Low Country in South Carolina, they had a Piggly Wiggly. They still have a Piggly Wiggly, but we don't. That's been long ago. But it's been fun though. I enjoy it. But you know, I think after we wrap up, we have one more interview later on today. We probably going. This will be our last day here, but we're gonna try to go enjoy the city some more.
I should wait tomorrow your last day and explore the city tonight.
Yeah, we got a early flight. Yeah, it's just how our package came in together, so we gotta take out early in the morning. So I gotta and see how that feels again. Man. I was like, man, I'm gonna try to.
You overcome your fear you got on the plane.
Yeah, that was the hard part. You don't got past the hard part. You got on that.
Like I was telling him, man, I kept tapping like, man, this we up high. I'm like, man, why is the plane shaking? Like, I don't like this. I'm thinking, man, something is shaking. We about to go down.
Now, which plane did y'all get on?
Where
American.
American ain't bad.
Yeah,
I thought you was about to say Spirit.
That's Spirit.
Yeah, they always say.
Stay away, dude.
Yeah, you would have felt like you was on a rocket or something.
Yeah.
I just remember the line Drake had in Rick Ross song, Go Rosie said, I'm all for spiritual living, but I don't fly spirit.
No.
And everybody said, don't mess with spirit.
You really go. You ain't gonna never want to get back on the plane again if that's your first time.
Yeah, I'm glad that was my first experience.
Yes, American Airlines is pretty good. I like them. They're pretty good.
But yeah, it wasn't too bad. I was like, I enjoyed it. Then I read some, I have read some of my book pages in my daily affirmation of academics and sex book. So they kind of helped me like
Relax
a little bit too. But it's been fun. But let's get ready to wrap it up. I enjoyed you, ladies. Before we get out of here, can you tell everybody how to find you on social media or any advice that you want to give people watching?
Social media, Jasmine LaShawn on Facebook or The Opulence Firm on Facebook. Boss Ladies on the Move on Facebook and on IG Opulence Firm.
And for me, it's Kimberly Claridy Walker on Facebook. Also, Serenity Living, Adult Care on Facebook and the website. Also, Housing at Walker's website and Instagram is Kim Walker 1011.
All right, well, thank you, ladies, again. We appreciate you for taking the time to sit with us here. Like I said, this Cross the Line Podcast Self-Investment Tour here in Jacksonville, Florida. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Until next time, keep chasing dreams. Thank you for listening.